Hey, Ryan.
Thank you for doing this for us. Appreciate it. So about 2 minutes ago, I got just got word that my social media tested positive. So right now we're just
What's up, guys?
What's up, Gary?
Hey, Gary.
So I was just telling Ed that about 2 minutes ago, I just got the word that my social media guy just tested positive. So I'm just trying to track his steps.
You're doing.
Sickness date was the 20th, so we're good. All right. So he's in the hospital and Facebook messaging me from the hospital. Go figure.
Oh, wow.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and click broadcast on this, and then I'll just do an introduction. I think then we're just going to punt it to Ed.
Sure.
Yeah, I can do a very quick 10,000 foot.
And then you punt
and
it
then,
to Ed.
maybe punt it to Ed.
All right.
You have a blue screen background, Gary?
I do.
Okay, it looks cool.
It does. It looks like you're in a library or something, but your head looks huge.
I'm in my basement bar, so I don't know what to tell you.
Oh, I'd like to come over for a cocktail. Screw this. So, all right, let me hit broadcast so we're live here, guys. I had 109 registered last I looked. So, all right, the webinar is now broadcasting. We'll just give a minute. So, I don't know, 15 participants already. 16. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, 19, 20, 21. A lot of stuff going on here. My name is Ryan Steele, the director of the WCRT. For some reason, this is looking backwards. Is this backwards to everybody? Gary, is this backwards?
Nope, it looks good to us.
On mine, it's backwards. So, all right, good. WCRT is an entrepreneur in real estate. We're at 40 participants. Thank you, everybody, for joining. I know there's a lot of uncertainty going on right now, and what I wanted to do is see if we could help during this time. And a lot of us are small business owners, and small businesses make up really almost the majority of the employment and business that's transacted in the United States every year. And the government has politely offered to help since they shut us down. So what I did was I reached out to a good friend of mine, Gary Davidson at Castle Law. We got 50 participants. That's awesome. And he and his team there at Castle Law Group have put together a lot of information on the Small Business Association loans. I know a lot of people that had gone to the Small Business Association website and were trying to figure out how to apply, what they could apply for, only to have the website crash. And then they would get on the phone and it'd be hours upon hours. And one of my friends actually was on the phone for 4 hours, finally got through to someone. They put them on hold and got disconnected. And they had to sit in that queue again for more hours. So what I wanted to do is just bring in Castle Law Group to talk about some of the requirements and what they could do. So without further ado, I'm going to punt over to Gary Davidson, who is owner and managing partner of Castle Law Group. Go ahead, Gary.
Hey, thanks so much, Ryan. So, one of the core missions or one of our core values at Castle Law is that we really want to focus on giving people a hand up rather than looking for a handout. And when I first started following the COVID-19 crisis, I realized that for a lot of our corporate clients, for a lot of our small business owners, this was a situation where we all needed to pull together in a time of need. And so I always try to think about what's the one thing such that if I can do it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary for my clients. And we're feeling helpless right now, but obviously there's been a huge package passed by the federal government. There's a lot of state grants and a lot of state opportunities. I read an article in the Chicago Tribune, Ryan, over the weekend that a very large portion of the people that were attempting to apply for these governmental loans were not able to make it through that process, because for the very same people that the government is trying to assist, they've created all of these barriers to entry because you need to have an advanced degree in grant applications and loan applications in order to comply with this. So I met with my team, my partner Ed, who's far smarter than I, has an advanced degree in taxation, focuses on all our corporate group. What was the one thing that we could do to help people? And getting these grant applications filed for people in this time of need to bridge that gap so that when we can get back to normalcy was just that. And Ed's going to jump in here and kind of describe the step-by-step process. Yes.
Before we jump, I just want to let everybody know you can ask questions using the Q&A feature. If you put your mouse over the screen, there's a Q&A. Go ahead and type in there, and we'll do our best to answer any questions that come up. Go ahead, Gary.
Awesome. So yeah, throw in your questions at the end. We'll get those answered. But the goal here was to do something that we're giving back. In other words, if you can go on our webpage, you answer 18 simple questions. That will allow Ed to vet what programs you may be eligible for. Not that you're absolutely eligible, that you may be eligible for. And then for a very, very low cost of $500, we're going to file those applications for you. And that's just to cover our costs. My goal behind this is not to make money off of this tragedy, but simply to keep my employees employed and then offer that hand up to other people. So big, big grants, big, big money, big opportunities for that very, very low cost. And for WCRT members, we're going to be offering a $100 discount off of that if and when you qualify. To answer the 18 questions, it does not cost you a single penny. So I'm going to pitch it over to Ed. He can give you a deep dive on what this all means and describe it to you.
Sure. Thanks, Ryan. Thanks, Gary. Real quick, I wanted to give just a brief overview of, there are 5 main programs that have been put together. Some of them have been existing before. Some of them are new as part of the CARES Act. Some of them are easy. Some of them are going to be more involved. But just to give you a list, 5 main programs. One of them is a strict grant program. 3 of them are strict loan programs. And then one is kind of a hybrid loan/grant program that is going to be available. So first off, available is what's called the Hospitality Emergency Grant Program. This is a fast deadline, fast approaching April 1. It offers a grant of $25,000 to anyone in the restaurant industry or in the hospitality or hotel industry. This is available for any of those businesses that have less than $1 million in revenue. There is an online application process for this that is basically, it's a lottery. So as long as you apply in time by midnight on the 1st, if you're in one of these categories, it's a grant that you're able to win. Again, not subject to repayment. It's just bailout funds that are going to be available. We'll get that, and along with Gary, I think we had a question of somebody wanting the link to that questionnaire.
Yep, I'm taking care of that.
Okay, so that's the first, the Hospitality Emergency Grant Program. That's going to be limited applicability. I don't know if many folks here, unless you have any rentals that include hotel type businesses or restaurant businesses. The second one is what's called the Illinois Small Business Emergency Loan Fund. This is available for businesses that have fewer than 50 workers, less than $3 million in gross revenue, outside of the city of Chicago. This is a low interest loan up to $50,000. For those inside the city of Chicago, there's a similar program that's afforded. This has an online process that you're basically asking the local government entity to include you in the program. It's not a very involved grant process, but that to be aware of. There's the second strict loan provision is what's called the Downstate Small Business Stabilization Program. That is similar to the other that I just mentioned. It's available for small businesses up to 50 employees, and is looking for their available grants and loans for additional working capital. This has a number of exclusions, and most of the Cook County area counties are not eligible, but I did want you to be aware of that. Those 3, again, that was more for information. Those aren't the primary ones we're dealing with. The last 2 are the ones that are going to have a lot of involvement in the near future. The first of those is the SBA COVID-19 Economic Injury loan. That's the one that's specifically referred in the questionnaire on our website. This, like a lot of these, this is an existing program through the SBA. And it had certain eligibility requirements that actually the CARES Act revised and changed pretty dramatically, that actually make it easier for business owners to qualify.
And guys, real quick, Ed, if you don't listen to anything else, listen to what Ed's about ready to tell you. This is that loan, right, Ed?
This is
Ryan's
that
going
loan.
to have a field day with this.
So this loan is eligible, or any small businesses in Illinois are eligible for this loan. It's through the SBA. It previously had certain strict requirements that you had to show that there was no other credit available. It required personal guarantees. All of that really went out the window with the CARES Act. So now under this loan, it basically can provide additional capital of up to $200,000, depending on the needs of the business. No longer is a business required to show that they lack credit elsewhere. They've omitted the personal guarantee provision of this loan. So this is all unsecured, other than through the assets of the business. And the most surprising part of this is that within 3 days of filing of the application, you're allowed to request a $10,000 advance of the loan funds, which do not need to be returned, even if you're eliminated or you aren't honored by, or you don't qualify for the program. So this is something.
Hold on, time out, guys. Did you hear this? So if you apply within 3 days, our federal government will process that. Now, this is probably the federal government 3 days. We'll send you a check for 10-000, $10,000. And if you're not eligible, you don't have to return the $10,000.
That's like $10,000 grant money.
That's pretty accurate. With the mechanics of this, I haven't seen how it's going to work, but literally this was kind of one of those magic surprises of the CARES Act, that this advance was permitted. And it, literally, I've never seen anything like this where they say, ask for an advance, and if you don't qualify, you don't have to repay it. Just really unbelievable. To the extent that it's determined a loan for-profit businesses, it's going to be at a maximum of 3 3/4%. Nonprofits are also eligible for this at 2 3/4%. But really, this is something that's, unique doesn't even begin to describe it. A really, really good opportunity for a lot of folks. This is the specific loan that our office has put up the questionnaire relating to that. There are a number of hoops you need to jump through as part of this application. You need to the extent you have them, provide 3 years of income tax returns, a current profit and loss statement, and there are other items that should be available in the ordinary course of your business that we're happy to assist you to collate and get the loan application in and approved.
Hey, Ed, do you want to answer a couple? We've got a few questions.
Yeah.
My friend Frida is asking, what was the name of that loan program that you just referenced?
The one I just referenced it's actually part of the SBA disaster loan program. And just to give you a teeny bit of background, it was originally most used for areas affected by hurricane or tornado where there's been a casualty loss, but specifically is related to the COVID-19, there is an economic injury loss loan permitted under this program. So I've been referring to it as the SBA COVID-19 Economic Injury Loan Program. Okay. The name rolls right off the tongue.
Guys,
And this is
Hey
a
guys, I just
federal
want to
program,
jump in.
right?
It's a federal program.
So it doesn't matter if it's in
Federal
Indiana or
program.
Illinois or Ohio or Florida. It's a federal program, right?
Well, let me clarify. It is a federal program, but the states are receiving the funding, is my understanding of it.
Okay. So if someone has an LLC in Indiana, like someone like myself, is there a difference between how I file, or is it still the same rules applying between states?
Should be the same rules that are applying. From our standpoint, we are looking for Illinois businesses because we're giving legal advice and assisting in that program. So we need to limit our firm to Illinois businesses and residents.
Okay.
So guys, I don't want to, I can't stress this enough. First and foremost, this Chicago Tribune article and the feedback that I'm receiving is that about 50% of the people that start filing these applications end up giving up. And then 50% of those 50% file the applications improperly. I live by a dermatologist, and then my neighbor across the way owns a cleaning company. And these are my friends, and I don't want to see these folks fail. And I would encourage everyone to complete that application, that web-based 18 question application, so that we can vet this for you and let you know which programs you should be applying for, because this is not a time to be doing a kind of a cavalier cowboy approach to this. I've made this these fees such that we're really, again, not trying to make any money on this. We're really trying to provide value because we want to earn people's business for life if we can help you in this time of need. Ed, we had a couple other questions over here on the side. And Ryan, I think I'm missing some of them that already popped through.
A lot of them were
What were the couple of
the big question was, if they have multiple entities, how are those tracked?
That is a great question, Ryan. As part of the application, you're required to list any entities with the common ownership. How that's going to impact the qualification, we just don't know yet. But as part of the application, you're required to disclose any related businesses that are also applying. Completely unclear whether they're going to exclude any of the related businesses or not. Everything they're saying is going to be determined on a case-by-case basis, which means they're not willing to give a general rule on anything. My suggestion would be is apply for all you can, because the worst that's going to happen is they tell you, no, you're not going to be able to get it for this entity or that entity.
Right. The other question is, there's a lot of people that I interact with on a daily basis that have their businesses in Indiana. I know you guys are basically Illinois attorneys. The question is, do you have anybody that you know that you could refer to Indiana that could help them with this?
That we definitely can. I hate to say we'll do that on a case by case, but we're happy to answer questions. A lot of it, I try to refer you to an attorney from the specific region you're in. Whether that's, I have my in-laws in Munster. I have some colleagues in South Bend area, and then some in the Indianapolis area. So we're happy to talk to you and refer you to someone who could assist.
Okay. And then will they send in advance for every application, or just the one? When you said you filled out an application, you have to fill out all the different entities. Do you get $10K per entity or $10K per app?
That I do not have an answer for.
Okay.
That's all so brand new. The $10,000 advance was something that nobody was anticipating, expecting. There was nowhere that it showed up on the original list of application materials. So I'm anticipating it's part of.
Don't go and start forming 10,000 companies yet for your 10,000 per companies. But this is something that Ed and I have been speaking a lot about over the last 24 hours as to whether it is a per entity or a per person allocation. And it's one of the things that we're going to get an answer to quickly because it's obviously very, very important. Certainly, if your wife owns a business and you own a business, I would think those would be two totally separate eligibilities, but we're vetting all of these different things. And once we have those 18 questions answered, we're going to be able to properly put you in that particular program and answer those more thoroughly.
Yeah. Another question just came in. How long do you have to be in business to qualify, or does it matter?
I haven't seen an exact rule, but you do have to have been operational on February 15 of 2020. So you cannot create a business today and expect to get any relief. I'm sure that's going to relate to the related entities as well. But as long as you were operational on February 15, then you should qualify.
And then another question from Ms. Weigel is, if you get the loans so that employees don't need to apply for unemployment, do you need to use a loan, the SBA loan, in order to pay that? Or what happens if we pay them and the SBA states we have to pay them back? Then the money comes out of our pocket in the end. Is there a chance that they will make us pay back for paying our employees? It is a loan.
Yes, I mean, the payback provision is going to be regardless of what the funds are used for. Not sure.
Ed, do you have, can you speak to the thing you and I were talking about yesterday regarding the funding for keeping employees employed?
Oh, that's actually the CARES Act loan. That would be the next one I'm going to be talking about.
Talk a little bit more about that.
We're going to get into that one.
You want me to get into that now?
Let me just see if there's any other questions regarding this. Can a legal permanent resident apply as a sole proprietor? That's an interesting question. If your LLC, do you have to go through the LLC do you have to go through the state your LLC is registered in, or the one you do business in?
I'm going to give my favorite answer. I think it depends. My presumption is it's going to be the state you're doing business in.
Okay. Someone just asked, they have an Ohio LLC, but do work in Illinois. So they wanted to know who to go through for that. And how will the process proceed if the review of the questionnaire deems we would be eligible to move forward utilizing your firm?
We're going to be contacting everyone who submits an inquiry. So we'll have an attorney from Castle Law talk to everybody who submits.
Okay, and someone says, if we can leave our employees on unemployment, is that better for them, or should we use use other people to use payroll? I have no idea what that means.
Well, because of the requirements of the CARES Act program, my answer is going to be that you're better off keeping them as employees, because as part of the CARES Act program, I won't say you're penalized, but you're going to lose some of the benefit of it if you have a lower payroll than you did in 2019.
Okay. So I think that's all the questions about this one. Why don't we go ahead and move forward with the next step?
Sure. Next up is the loan, what I'm calling the hybrid program under the CARES Act. And now understand that the CARES Act had pages and pages and pages and pages of new law. And so what I'm strictly going to focus on for this is what's called the Paycheck Protection Program loan under the CARES Act. And what this is it starts out initially as an SBA type loan in the 7A loan program, which a lot of small businesses already have implemented. And what it permits is it's designed to give a float for the next 8 weeks of operating expenses, payroll, rent, mortgage payments, utilities. And if the parties or the business meets the requirements under this Paycheck Protection Program, a certain part of that loan is going to be forgiven at no tax cost to the business. So that's why I said it starts off as a loan and then can convert into a part grant and part loan. the debt that's going to be forgiven is going to be deemed forgiven, or you are supposed to be notified of what part is going to be forgiven on June 30th of this year. The balance of any amount that's outstanding is going to be a loan that's amortized over the next 10 years with the payments deferred from 6 months to 1 year. So what does that mean, and how do you, a lot of this, understand there's been no guidelines whatsoever given. These are all going to be, need to be run through your local, I don't want to say your local lender, but a lender who's able to help you apply for SBA loans. That's not going to be your standard residential mortgage broker or anything like that. It's going to be have to be a lender who does SBA loans. They have not even gotten any of the particulars of this program. Once they do that, I imagine it's going to be a week or two before they're going to actively be able to take applications. But the important thing, the important feature of this loan relates to the forgiveness and conversion into grant. That's going to be a certain percentage, and the more your payroll pre-COVID-19 matches your post-COVID-19 payroll, more of that loan, larger percentage of that loan is going to be forgiven.
And if you're like a one-person shop and you just can't do business, how do you do that? Like someone's asking, I have an Illinois S Corp and I also work full-time, but I'm a realtor. Do you think that person could qualify, or do you not have enough information?
Don't have enough information, but I will say that I mean, the economic injury loan, I think that was, that's a key one to look into for that specific individual. It won't hurt anything to talk to a lender who is going to be able to assist with the SBA loan. Worst case scenario, they tell you can't qualify.
Yeah.
I would think that if your payroll goes from X amount to zero, there's not going to be much of that that's going to be forgiven. But again, that's something for that you should review with the lender.
Okay. And you guys, another question I just got separately on Facebook, which oddly enough, I'm in the Q&A, folks. Can you, do you guys have any lenders you work with, Rayleigh, that you could recommend to some of these people on this?
I've talked to a couple today. They're all kind of up in the air. Gary has a couple lenders I know that he's spoken with. The ones I've talked to, they're being a little cautious right now. They don't know when they're going to have the program implemented. The ones I spoke to thought it'd be 3 weeks or so before they can start meeting with people.
Okay. Did you have something to throw in there, Gary? You seemed like you were about to chime in.
Yeah, I was. I've got a couple of lenders that I think might be able to mobilize a little more quickly. And once, I hate to keep harping on this, but once people complete that 18-page questionnaire, it's going to be able to match us up with specific lenders. And we will make those direct connections with those lenders once we have your information.
Okay. Was there, just looking through the questions. The last one, option 4, you said, is this done through a lender as well? I'm not sure what option 4 is, but.
I think that was the SBA economic injury. That is not, you do not need to do that through an SBA lender. That is specifically one that we're happy to assist you with.
Someone just says, is it 18 questions or 18 pages?
It's 18 questions.
That is a very good question to ask a lawyer, but it literally is 18 questions. I've completed the application myself. It literally will take you less than 5 minutes. Most of the questions are, what's your name? What's the name of your business? What's your phone number? What's your email? So that's 5 of the questions right there.
Okay, here's one. I am a one-man shop that is an S Corp, but I am on the books as a W-2 employee. So I am being affected both ways, both business loss and payroll for myself. Which is the best course of action?
I would recommend, again, there's nothing that says you can't apply for any and all of these. So assuming you don't apply for the outside of Cook County and the downstate relief program, I would encourage you to send us the questionnaire. We can assist with the economic injury loan, and then we can point you in the right direction as far as the SBA loan.
Okay. And then the other one, most recent question was there any specific amount of revenue a company must have had prior to February 15th to qualify?
That I didn't recall seeing in there. I mean, there were no limits. Most of the programs are limiting the revenue, so it doesn't have a minimum revenue that you need. Obviously, I think that you need to have some profit prior to COVID-19, because as a part of all of these, you're required to make a good faith assertion that your business has been impacted negatively by COVID-19.
And if someone already has an existing SBA loan they're repaying, can they get another one?
Yes, they can.
Okay.
And I should note also, Ryan, that they should talk to their lender, because the existing SBA loan very well could be on deferral, and they may have a grace period for making payments on the existing SBA loan.
Someone just asked, what is the application link for the CARE payroll protection application directly? Is it different than COVID-19 relief.sba.gov?
I'm sorry, Ryan, the CARE?
They're asking, what is the application link for the CARE-payroll protection application?
Oh, okay.
Is that different than
there
the
is no
COVID-19?
separate link for that yet, because that, again, has to be done through your lender. And the particulars of that program have not even been forwarded to my banking colleagues as of yet.
Someone already said during this chat, I filled out your questionnaire and it was extremely easy. So kudos to you guys for that. Someone literally just did that. So that's how long it takes, folks. It doesn't take very long, and the guys at Castle Law will rock it out. The gang, I shouldn't say guys. Sorry, that was very sexist. So, is there more
actually,
information?
there's probably 3 of the 4 attorneys that are processing these are women, Ryan.
Yeah, okay. Don't tell them I just said that, because then they might lynch me. Didn't mean that. I entered that and can't find it. Okay. All right. A lot of people in the chat, Gary, are asking for the link, and I copied and pasted the link you're doing, but some people are saying it doesn't work. So if you want to just.
So, guys, what I've done is I just put a Facebook post up. I'm going to have Ryan share that Facebook post, or at least copy the link. So most of you are probably friends with or like WCRT, or if you want to send me a friend request, Gary Davidson, or go to the Facebook Castle Law Facebook page, you can get the link in all of those places.
I literally just clicked the link and it worked just fine right out of the chat. So try again, folks. It is working just fine. It takes you to a nice page that just has the Castle Law logo and says Small Business Administration Initial Intake Form. Start, press enter. All right. So do we have more information, Ed? You guys have been like a wealth of knowledge today. I can't believe the 10K. It's like a grant, just crazy. Let's get this.
Well, I mean, we could talk just very briefly. I mean, since a lot of the people that might be on this are real estate investors, we all have prognostications on what this means. Obviously, the $10,000 is wonderful for all of us that have small businesses. It seems hard to believe that with 2.2 trillion of new money being printed into the U.S. market, that that is not going to create a massive amount of inflation, potentially a recession. But the reality is that while many of us could say that it is or is not a good idea, it is what has occurred. So now that we know the deck of cards that have been played, it's up to us as small business owners to take advantage of those resources and get as many of those programs available to people as possible. And from a selfish perspective, I want my clients and my friends to take advantage of this. You can only imagine when it becomes much more readily known that there is $10,000 of immediately available money, how quickly $2 trillion might go.
The only other thing, Ryan, I'd like to add too is, we focused on the new loan programs. We have a lot of talented people at Castle Law, and there's a lot of uncertainty, and everybody's scared. We have talented attorneys in the business area. We have talented attorneys in the real estate area, in the estate planning area. Please feel free to contact Gary or me if you have any concerns, any answers, or any questions you need answered. And we're going to be happy to reach out for you.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I use Castle Law for my stuff in Illinois. Even had like a business litigation that involved some properties in Indiana, but the businesses were in Illinois, and they handled it expertly. And I had a very positive outcome. So I want to always suggest that. Anything else you guys like to add, Ed or Gary, before I get a quick promo for the WCRT in?
No, just castlelaw.com, castlelaw.com. If you need to reach me, I answer my phone for everybody but my wife's, is what she tells me. So my cell phone is 815-351-0408. You're more than welcome to call me on my cell phone. I'm happy to answer questions for people. I love helping people. Yeah. Ryan, do your promo.
Hey, thanks so much, guys. Again, hey, WCRT, a Real Estate Investor Association meeting strictly focused on 100% no sales, no gurus, all education. We're going to have our monthly meeting this Thursday night in just a couple of days. Going to be right here on Zoom, doing it the same way until the state lets us meet in person again. So everybody in the meantime, go to facebook.com/WCRT Chicago. We have a question, Mr. Holly, here before we break out. No. Oh, there is a question here. Will this loan affect my credit score?
That's a great question, Ryan, and the provisions of the Act say it will not at all affect your credit score.
Okay.
And in fact, a lot of the CARES Act provisions state that non-payment of certain items like credit cards and rent are not going to negatively impact your credit score.
And then you got here we get and how many times can I apply for a loan? What if I apply but then realize 2 weeks later I didn't ask for enough?
That, again, they haven't given us a lot of guidance, but I would say apply early and often.
Just like voting in Illinois. Yeah, I love it. All right. Well, I want to give a big shout out and thanks to Ed and Gary from Castle Law. Please, guys, use their website. I will put it on the WCRT Facebook page, the link to the form to apply. And I look forward to seeing everybody on the WCRT page this Thursday night. Gary and Ed, thanks so much. Take care and watch us.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks, guys. Be safe.
How do I end this thing?